Logical operators allow us to build more complicated propositions from simpler propositions. So let's say we have two propositions that we'll use as examples. So let's say we have proposition P that says it is raining. It is raining. And suppose you also have another proposition Q which says it is cold. Okay, so let's look at the different basic logic operators that we will be talking about. So the first one we'll be talking about is negation. And so we denote it by this symbol here. It's sort of like a minus in front of the P. And the way we read it is as not P. And so if we say it is raining, then not P would be it is not raining. It is not raining. Now, when is not P true? Well, not P is true when P is false, right? So it will be true that it is not raining when it is false, that is, it is raining. And so not P will only be true when P is false. So in other words, if P is true, then not P is false, and if P is false, not P is true. Okay. Now, another one we have is called conjunction. So conjunction also can be called as an AND operator. So if you have both propositions P and Q, the AND, which we denote like this, is P and Q. And when will this be true? This will be true when both P and Q are true. So they both have to be true for the conjunction to be true. So if we say it is raining and it is cold, so if it is raining and it is cold, then this will be true only when it is raining is true and it is cold is true. So if any one of these is false, then the conjunction will not be true. Another basic operation is called disjunction, and this is known as the OR, and more so it's known as the inclusive OR. So, and we'll see why so. And we denote it in this way, and so we read P or Q. So if we want to say it is raining or it is cold, right? When will this be true for us? So this will be true when at least one of them is true, which means it'll be true when P is true or Q is true or both P and Q are true. And that's why it's called inclusive, because it includes the case where both of them are true at the same time. So in other words, it is raining or it is cold will be true when it is raining, when it is cold, and also when it's both raining and cold. There exist other operations, and one of them is called the exclusive OR, which we'll not talk about here, but that would be the case where it's only true when it is raining or it is cold, but not both. But here, with inclusive, it is true when it is both. Okay. The next one is called implication. This one is a bit more complicated, and we'll have a video just for this. So the way we did it, when we talk about implication, we talk about the following type of statement. If P, then Q. So if P is it is raining and Q is it is cold, then a statement of the form, if it is raining, then it is cold. Okay, and we denote it by this arrow here. So we say P implies Q. And when will this be true? Well, this one is actually easier to say when it'll be false. So it'll only be false when P is true and Q is false. So if we say that if it is raining, then it is cold, that will only be false when it is raining, but it is not cold. In all the other situations, it'll be true. But like I said, let's leave this for a video of its own because this is the most confusing one by far. Okay, let's look at biconditional. So the biconditional, which we say P if and only if Q. So in other words, this is P if and only if Q. That's what the two F's there denote. So this will be true when P and Q have the same truth value. So we say that it is raining if and only if it is cold. That means that if it is raining, then it has to be cold. And if it's not raining, then it has to not be cold. So they both have to be true together or false together. And the last thing I want to say for now is when you're writing these things out, how do you read them, right? So how does the precedence work? So the way that it works from tightest to loosest is that first comes negation, then you have conjunction, then disjunction, then implication, and then biconditional, which is actually the same order that we did here when we were explaining. And so let's say that you want to read something like this. Like, what does it mean? How would you put parentheses around? Well, you just follow the precedence here. And so essentially essentially negation comes first. So you first put the parentheses around here. Then you have in this case here, the disjunction. And then finally you have the implication, which means that on the right here, I forgot the parentheses.